Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear our host, Andy Albright.
Hey, guys. Hello, guys. Hey, Marc Accetta. How you doing, buddy?
I am phenomenal, sir.
Good. Can you hear me? Is it coming in pretty loud and clear? Can you hear me? Is it coming in loud and clear, Mark?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, Mr. Albright, sir.
Odds are other people can hear also. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope we add value to your life and make a difference in this Wednesday call. I've been thinking about it, took notes, chatted with Marc Accetta quite a bit about it, chatted with Jeff Bright a lot about it this morning. So hope it helps. I want you to know my intent. The way this thing works is the hierarchy or the headquarters, the company, gets a tiny percentage off of everybody, okay? So if your numbers go down, then we have less. If your numbers go up, we have more. Does that make sense? So if I do something that hurts you, then I'm hurting myself, right? So like, let's say I took, like, say this knife, and I just jammed it into my hand. You see how that would be painful, right? So if I jammed it into you and then you can't work for 2 weeks, it's not in. Does that make sense? But if I actually bump into you playing basketball and break your leg, that's unintentional. Or if I make a mistake, sometimes my wife will say something to me or Jeff will say something to me. So I go, I think you're making a mistake. I go, yeah, I make a lot of mistakes, but I'm not trying to make a mistake. I'm making a judgment call. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I think you should do. And I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I've had a lot of success. So a lot of times I've been right, and a lot of times I've been wrong, but I'm studying it, and I've had errors along the way. So now when I'm telling you something, Nick, not in the thorn. Nick, Norton, not Nanton. So if I tell you something, Nick, that's bad, after I've been practicing for 30 years, how old are you?
24.
So you're 24. You can use it, Mike. So you're 24. I've been on 58 years. You've been on 24 years.
That's right.
It don't mean I know more than you, but I've been building this business for 30 years, so I'm giving you advice. I could be wrong, but I'm not trying to hurt you, okay? And I think people, Marc Accetta, I don't know if people are, what is it when you just apathy? They're apathetic to what I say, either apathetic to what I say, insanely committed to what I say, or think I'm trying to hurt them. Those are your three choices. So when Marc Accetta tells you something, are you apathetic, meaning like, critical, well, I think that's true. I think that portion is true, but these other portions you said, I'm not sure about these other portions. I'm going like, wow, he's built conventions. He takes me advice, I take it to heart. Does that make sense?
That's right.
Either apathetic, think he's trying to hurt us, he's trying to hurt the company, or he's an idiot, or this is going to go backwards, this is going to backfire, like, bro, or I'm committed, I'm going all in. Does that make sense? So our intent is that we help you succeed more for your family and your children. So, Mark, I don't feel like I should have to sell that, but I feel like sometimes as people need to hear that aspect of it. Like it's Albright, when Albright gives these talks, like the talks that I gave here at Breakthrough, like, please God, tell me, that I 100% believe in it, or why would I say it? Anyway, that subject matter, Mark, do you feel worth tuning in and commenting?
Yeah, I think it's really important, Andy. I think a lot of people who probably will take the time and energy to be on this weekly call / Zoom are people who want to be leaders. And I remember years ago when I was aspiring to be a leader, I heard something that really struck me is in order to be a great leader, you got to be a great follower first. So for me, I found in the industry I was in, I found a mentor like you, very similar to you, very similar as far as success goes, having private jets and multiple homes and investments all over the world. So in the Bible, it says, by their fruit you shall know them. So to me, I'm going, this guy's got some significant fruit, just like you have significant fruit. And there's a lot of people who are in that industry, just like there's a lot of people in the insurance industry that are successful, but not to that level. You know what I mean? There is a big difference. If you're in school and you get an 80 on a test, that's a pretty good grade. But if you get 100, that's different. So I looked at my mentor and you as if you guys are getting 100. So when I got started, it was really interesting because what you're saying is the God's honest truth. I remember the first event I went to, and I just listened to what the guy said and wrote it down as if it was the gospel truth. You know, at the time he was making, I think, 100,000 US dollars a month. That was going back 35 years ago. And he was, you know, breaking records in the company, all this kind of stuff. So my point is, I just took the notes and just took it as if it was gospel. However, when I went out to lunch and out to have drinks the next night, I remember a couple people going, well, just like you're saying, I agree with this, but I don't know about that. Or I do it this way. You know what I mean? And it's like, he tells a funny story. You'll get a kick out of the story, Andy. So he tells a story. Now, this is my mentor when he was a follower, when he was brand new. And he walked into a leader's office like yourself, very similar to the desk you're sitting at. And he sheepishly popped his head in the door and said, excuse me, but can I speak with you a minute? And the guy was like, sure, what do you want? And at that point, he was an up and coming guy making 5, 6, 7,000 a month. But again, this is 40 years ago, so that wasn't terrible money back then. And he walked in, he said, I've got an incredible idea I want to share with you. And the guy just looked at him and he goes, how big's your staff? And he goes, I'm sorry, I have an idea. And he goes, yeah, no, I heard what you said. How big's your stack?
How big?
And again, how big's your stack? Your stack.
Your
stack.
Employees.
Like stack of pancakes?
Stack of money.
Yeah,
Stack, right. He didn't say stack of money. He just said, how big's your stack? And then,
stack.
Yeah. And he went on and he didn't. Now imagine, you know, you're excited to tell your mentor something you're excited about. And now he's like saying something, clearly calling you out. And he goes, I don't understand. He goes, how big's your stack? Well, I don't. No, son. How big's your stack, son?
I'm gonna write that down.
He goes, well, how much money did you make last year? Let me make it easy for you. He goes, I made $42,000. $42,000. Wow, that's amazing. Last year, I made $8 million, son. So why don't I start listening to you so I could make 42,000? Or maybe you should pull your head out of your ass and listen to me so you can make 8 million. Which way do you think we should go, son? That story. That was me, Andy. Like, so when my mentor said, turn left, I just turned left. I didn't put on my blinker. I didn't look in the mirror. I didn't see if everyone else was turning left. I just turned left. And I'm telling you point blank, and I say this all the time on stage, my success in my mind comes 100% from what I learned from my mentor. He taught me how to think, and he taught me about the business. So that I'm saying, when I look at you and your accessibility, the fact that even though you're that successful, you're still on stage at every event, you're still flying around and you're accessible. For me, I would just be blowing you up if I could. If I had your phone number, I would be respectful, but I'd be kind of like Kobe Bryant. I'd be calling you 3-4 times a day, asking you little things, because the bottom line is, if someone has a strong hunger to be great, and you have someone who's been to the top of the mountain. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Human beings are human beings, and some people are not going to take advantage of this. But I think you'll find that if those of you listening, if you're a great follower of Andy Albright, then eventually you can be a great leader in your own right.
I like your stories. I think that's an understatement. I love your stories. How do you deal with people that say things like, yeah, but I know you're wealthy, but that don't mean you're right all the time. You're wrong in this instance. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you 9 things you are wrong in. And I sit there and look at them. And I go, okay, check. You're right about all 9. How big is your stack? Well, money isn't everything. What are we judging it on? Look at our God-given looks. Is that what we want to judge it on? You're luckier or you're not? What are we judging it on? Yeah, but does your wife love you? Now, when you say love, what do you mean? Does that make sense? But is your children good? What do you mean is my, like, what do we judge? How is God going to reflect on your life? I don't know. We can call Dr. Bickers or, the preacher over here, you know what I'm saying? What does your wife think about you? What is your wife? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this judgment from? Yeah. I like the stack. Because it's so.
Well, again, Andy, I go back to my mentor for a minute, and here's what happens a lot, and it didn't happen to me, but it happens to a lot of people. People confuse the message and the messenger. You follow what I'm saying? So
I'm not sure.
Well, a lot of people, they don't hear the message because I'll give you an example. So let's say someone's an incredibly successful insurance salesman, someone who's amazing. I'm not going to use names, but we have people in this organization who make strong 6 figures, even 7 figures. So if someone's that good and that person is giving you advice on how to sell insurance, some people look at them and go, well, I don't like the way they dress, or I don't like this or that about their character. So they confuse the messenger with the message. They don't listen to the message because for whatever reason, they don't like something about the messenger. And to me, this is what I understand. Even pastors, my pastor says all the time, I'm human. I'm going to let you down. God's the only person that's not going to let you down. So if you are going to get upset when I make a mistake, I'm not God. I'm a human. I'm going to let you down. Your wife's going to let you down. Your friends are going to let you down. Your boss is going to let you down. So don't go back to what you're saying. Like, I never judged my mentor for anything he did off the field. All I know is on the field, he was the baddest ass in the industry, period. So I did whatever he told me and I never questioned it. So again, I can't help but draw parallels between you and him. There's too many of them.
So, one of the things we said, me and Mark said, is we need to have a call to talk to people about how to get more people to convention. Okay. Teach them, explain them. So when I came on with apathetic to what I say, opposed to what I say, or totally just sold out on what I say, it don't matter what I say if you're apathetic to what I say or if you're apathetic to Mark. If you think we're trying to get you, it's not going to matter what we say. So we're talking to the people that say, salute. Does that make sense? You're like, well, I'm not going to be any saluter to anybody. Listen, guy, I established you're this. You're the sarcastic drama queen that I'm going to try to get everybody get you to call you a drama queen this year. Does that make sense? And the first way to me to get people to get you being drama queen is you to be a follower. Well, I'm not going to be a straight up follower. Y'all understand when Bill Britt is one of my heroes, okay, and his results, his stack. Mm-hmm. I went to his houses to see his stack. Looked in the window, looked in there, rubbed off the window the dust, saw them Ferraris, Lamborghinis sitting in there. People were like, money's not everything. His stack. You don't have a dusty Ferrari, rusty Lamborghini sitting there if you ain't got a stack.
Yep.
You know me? I looked at it, and here's what he said. The one that gets the most to the conventions will make the most money, have the most fun, have the most success, and grow faster. And I went, okay, we got to go to the convention. Everybody I know, love, trust. Everybody's on my team. Everybody I work with, you're going to go to the convention. And, dude, I was brutal. I had somebody say the other day, Eddie, you've gotten harder since Tuesday, or you're sitting harder since you turned 50 or whatever. Like, bro, you should have met me when I was 27. And I was trying to get people to go to an Amway meeting. You saw some of it, Gooderman. Brandon, you ain't seen none of it. You ain't seen me crazy. I mean, you've heard me say some things, Brandon. My son-in-law's back here in the back room. He's heard me say some stuff. And I go, all right, that guy's probably going to quit, or he's going to be more committed. And the next day, we find out. And he happens to be more committed, and he just found one of the biggest new producers that joined the team. But it was crazy. Like, I gave him, you saw a little taste, a little thimble full of the bruteness. I went, when Bill Britt said that, and then Larry Winter said the same thing. Paul Miller said it in the nicest sort of way. These are people that I just saw the stack or the evidence of the stack. Does that make sense? And so I said conventions are where it's at. Greensboro Coliseum, Mark, when I get there, it's pretty decent. I'm not sure if it holds 14 or 20,000. Somebody Google Greensboro Coliseum. How many does that hold? All right. So I would walk up the steps and down the steps, every aisle, all around the whole convention in solid flat leather shoes. Like I wear some different stuff now, but I was white shirt, black pant, just straight up leather, not supposed to be walking. Feet will be killing me. My wife would be like, where you been? I've been looking for a person. And I get them and I pull our team together. Does that make sense? And I'd count them. And I know how many people I had there. And my goal was to double at the next one, which is going to be 90 days. You with me? And the most I ever had was 200 people to an Amway convention. So 23,600. That's a pretty good Coliseum. And I walk up and down it, up and down it, up and down, up and down it. And I spoke to 23,000. It would never be full, but like 20,000 people. But I just believed these people, and I did that. From that 200 people has become at least 90% of my stack came from those 200 people, Mark. Because this guy got this guy who found Fitz, this guy who found this guy found Avian, this guy who found this guy found Adam Katz, this guy who found this guy calls Eric Belair, this guy who held Debbie Ben, this guy who had Marcus Richardson. You with me? The only one that I can think of right off, well, two right off. Well, I started to say one, but one I'm gonna count it toward the convention. And it's kind of unusual. My son-in-law, I'm gonna say he came from the convention. You know why? My daughter. See, she got him in, and now he's got a big. You see me? Now the other one, Stephen Davies. He answered an ad, but such a massive amount I came from that brainwashing, if you want to call it that, from that unbridled conviction of what that man said.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Well, and it's odd that you're saying that. It's not odd. It actually makes sense. Same exact thing happened to me. So another one of my stories is when my mentor grabbed me on the shoulder and he said, hey, you know what? You're doing a good job. Now, at the time, he actually said, I'm going to put together an inner circle with 6 leaders who I'm going to have as my right-hand people. And he goes, who do you think it's going to be? And I said, this guy. And he goes, yep. This gal, yep. And then I started naming names and I was getting them wrong. And finally he goes, you. And because that to me was incomprehensible at the time. I was making $5,000 to $10,000 a month. But the way, when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see myself as someone he would put on his inner circle. So we flew out to Salt Lake City and got a real nice hotel suite for that event, had all the champagne and all the hors d'oeuvres. And he sat the 6 of us down. He goes, look, you guys are here for a couple reasons. First of all, because you're working your ass off. Secondly, because you're teachable, 100% teachable. And thirdly, because you're getting some results. You're not getting amazing results, but you are getting some results. So here's the offer I'm going to make to you. This is real simple. Now, at this event, Andy, maybe we had 300 people. Maybe. I don't even think we had 300 people. He goes, you have very simple job. You go out and do the business day in, day out. You recruit and sell. And anyone who's worth anything comes to the next event. That's what you do. You fill the events. You have one simple job, fill the events. And then my job is to do my job when you bring people to the events. He goes, now I don't make promises to people. I don't believe in that. I believe in every man for himself. America's the land of opportunity, not a land of guarantees. But I will guarantee you this one thing. If you do exactly what I tell you and you put hundreds of people eventually in the events on your team, you'll become a millionaire in 5 years or less. Guaranteed. Now, again, for me, it's crazy to me that one of the 6 people was like you're saying. They didn't buy into it. Where are they now? I don't know. The other 5 of us became millionaires within 2 years. Just putting as many people in the event as possible. So I always tell people, man, I'm a one-trick pony. I'd like to tell you I'm great at a bunch of stuff, but I was good at one thing back in the day, filling events. And it was easy for me. And if you guys have gone to any of the events over the years and had a good experience, all I ever did was I just shared my experience on what happened to me at the event, who I used to be, who I am now. And I just attributed the truth in my mind. I attributed the truth. I just got done telling you, when I looked at myself in the mirror back then, I didn't see me as worthy. Over a couple of years of going to events, when I looked in the mirror, I started seeing a whole different human being. I started seeing a human being who should not only expect good things, who actually started demanding the best things in life. So like Andy said, at the Amway meeting, same basic thing. I drank the Kool-Aid. I had people making fun of me because everything out of my mouth now was a quote from Norman Vincent Peale or whoever, Dale Carnegie. And they made fun of me, talked behind my back. But the truth was my stack got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the people on my team who followed suit, they got big stacks too. So it's one of those things that I know it's hard to believe it can be that simple, but it can be that simple. If you just really focus, every business, you're going to track certain numbers. You're going to focus on certain key performance indicators. Here, make it how many people do you get to the event? Like Andy said, we have NatCom coming up. We have 2 weeks left. A lot of people have done, Andy, I've gone, oh, well, 2 weeks, it's like now it's too late to ask them. No, it's not. You got to be again, who gets rich? People who make things happen. So, what would be awesome is get some stories about people that the Thursday before the convention, get someone signed up who gets on a plane on that Friday. And people will do that kind of stuff, but they're not going to do it if you don't ask them. So we got plenty of time to get people signed up for this event, plenty of time. And then again, it's on Andy, myself, and the trainers to deliver. But then again, we're going to do it again in April, and we're going to do it again in the summer, and we're going to do it again every 90 days. If you can double the amount of people you're getting, I'm just telling you, it can be that simple.
I 100% agree. 90 days. In this case, it's how many weeks until the 13th? 3 weeks? 4 weeks? 3 weeks?
2.5.
2.5 weeks. You get 2.5 weeks. You work your ass off, and then you show up. Then you have a 90-day run, and you work your butt off. What are we doing at the time period? We sell, we recruit and wit, and we drive depth, which is build. We sell, recruit, and build. Well, Andy, I thought you said we got to sell leads in order to get production. I did. Yes. In order to sell leads, you have to call people. So I can take 6 hours or say sell, recruit, and build. Selling, everybody buying the most leads is the people in the top 10. Well, Stephen Davies is up there and he didn't buy a lot of leads. He's got 3,000 customers that he's invested in over years and years and years. He's got more in than you. He's got more invested. You with me? He built his client base. Does that make sense? Like, you can't trick me. And by the way, why are you trying to trick me anyway? Your situation, I am telling you, if you want to sell more, buy more leads. Well, Andy, could we? Okay, whatever. I'm okay. Go away. You with me? Like, I hear you and your little whanny. Okay. I'm happy if you can do it a different way. I'm happy for you. But show me somebody else on your team. And are you in the top 10? Are you in the top 20? In the top 25? Does that make sense? So 2.5 weeks, we've got a convention. What could we do in between now and then? I have a leaderboard here that I'm going to send you a copy of it, Mark, so you can be looking at it while we're talking here.
Okay.
And it's really RM. So in other words, if a person underneath you is a regional manager, they're on there listed by themselves. And then if you got another person like Brandon Manley, he's got my son who's a regional manager. He's got his own. Then he's got his sister, Brittany. That's RM. So what he's got outside of that is 33 people. Okay. So he ranks only 14 in as a regional manager. But if you add all three of them, that's his hierarchy. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you've got an RM. And if Spencer has an REM, that could be another person that's on there, right? So REM base shop. Okay. So in this, what we said is the top 12 RM based shops are going to be our special people, our what do you call it? VIP, special seats, special place to eat, special. So I know the Leventoviches are in their number 9 as RM, and they've got Joseph Dukes who's on there, and Jake and Beret Joseph. So there's 3 in their hierarchy that are in the top REMs in the country. Does that make sense? So if more people you have in there, but you'd like to stay in there too because you keep getting wide. And it's funny because I said, Brandon, we need to get you back in there. Because look at it, Mark, from 33 to 35, he gets back in it, right? 33 to 35, only 2 more people. So that's why I always say things like one more person could change your entire business. So we do things like this to show you how small a difference makes a huge difference. There's no guarantee that 2 more people would change his business, but it gets him in the top 12. And then he says, well, you know what? I had some tickets and I transferred it to Spencer or Brittany. I should have took credit. I go, okay, cool. You should have. But now you know, because now we got the leaderboard. Does that make sense? So like, okay, fix it. Does that make sense? I noticed some people on the New Zealand contest. They didn't have any points, because you can make points in November and December. You could get ahead of the game if you came to Breakthrough. But I saw some people had no points, and I was like, I thought I saw her at Breakthrough. And they go, yes, she was there, but she was registered incorrectly. We need to get her registered correctly so she gets those points. Does that make sense? Because it's like a stack. It's like a stack. There's no arguing. That's just the number, right? And if when we stamp it and it's final, the race is over, and you're either in or you're out. You're either number 1, you're number 4, you're number 13. Number 13 is not in that VIP group. Right now, Eric Belair is number 13. He's not in the VIP group. One more, and we got a problem because he's tied with Jake and Beret Joseph and Brittany Winterberg. Okay? Does that make sense? So this is just an indicator of future success that people are going to have by having people at these meetings. And it's really just a recognition factor. It's also so I can see who it is. One other thing I want to say before I turn it back to you is I keep a track of a list of people that I really think that your mentor had, those 6 people, Mark.
Yep.
It's always dynamic. I'm marking them off, highlighting them, circling them, putting stars by them.
Yeah.
And I want to say this, Mark, and I'm asking you, I asked Jeff Bright, is if you have somebody you think that won't be apathetic, they won't be against me, but they'll just move on it, I need to identify those people. I think I've identified a few. It's hard for me to my children or to Brandon. Brandon would say, no, you're pretty good at doing that. I go, no, I'm not. If you saw how I talk to some other people that are not related to me. So I asked Mark, like, please, be brutal like I would be to somebody like, let's say, Jerry Burbage, right? Jerry and Cassie, or let's say like Stephanie Rodriguez, or let's say somebody like Jake Krause, or somebody like Mike Morisi. You know what I mean? Like, I would say things and he'd say, well, you should say it no matter what. I go, you got your emotional problems and I got my emotional problem. My emotional problem is I'm going to love my kids and my in-law kids. I don't care if they're absolute bass actors, worthless losers, and won't do nothing. I say, I'm going to love them. So I don't want them to think. Does that make sense? I'm still going to coach them. But now Jerry, I'll be like screaming at him. Does that make sense? Because he ain't my kid. I don't care. Well, he said, why are you screaming at him if you don't care? Because I want him to get rich, and he acts like he wants to get rich, and he's working his butt off, and Cassie's committed to him, and they're communicating. Does that make sense? Yeah. So along the same lines, but I can't do it to somebody who won't compare stacks, but they want to care. They want to compare intellect, but they don't want to compare stacks. Now, how am I going to argue? You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I going to have an argument conversation, somebody that has a stack that's either dwindling or it's just not that much, and they've been doing something for 8 years or 7 years, 6 years. And I go like, bro, you know, I'm an engineer. I learned how to count. I got a calculator on my phone. I got one at my desk right here. You know, I got them everywhere. I can do math. You know, it's just, I got my white sheet so I can draw out my graphs and my stats. And another guy told me the other day, he said, you like your graphs, don't you? I said, I don't like them like I like my wife, but I like them because they are what they are. You know what I mean? It's like a stack. You know what I'm telling you? I'm just looking at the number. I ain't trying to, it's like a ball game. Yeah. Somebody gets mad. This guy has completed 48% of his passes, and this guy's completed 30, and yet this guy wants to argue about how he's a better player. I'm like, bro, I'm going to tell you, well, I'm a better runner. Well, this guy had more yards than you. Like more people bought my jersey. So I'm like, what are you talking about? So I'm looking for people that'll follow and get this simple 90-day run. And I'm going to set you up with this, Mark. My mentor, I mathematically think he's a billionaire, maybe multi-billionaire. Okay, I'm not going to post that because I don't want me screaming that. But his stack is big.
Right.
Okay. He advised me to work with Marc Accetta, and I had lower people advise me not to. And then I had some people who were apathetic. Does that make sense? And then I had my own intellect to go on. He's done it before. Do I think he's God? No. Do I think he's perfect? No. Do I think he's Abraham? I don't even know who that is. Who is the guy with a stick? Moses. Do I think he's Moses?
No.
I don't think he's Abraham or Moses. Does that make sense? But I think he's put people in coliseums and has made it grow before. Does that make sense? So I'm glad you have your opinion. I'm glad I got my opinion, and Brian's got an opinion. So I said, all right, Mark, let's cut a deal. Let's see if we can work together, and you be the guy that does that. And he said, all right. We worked out a deal, shook hands, and we've been rolling ever since. So I'm looking for the 6. Would you take 9? Yeah, but I need 6. You know, I need at least 6. I'd like to have 33 is really the number. I want 33, get 33, get 33. That would be crazy talk. But it's hard for me to work with 33. And I think I do spray a little bit too much, too much because I care about so many people. But I'm looking for a very few people to get them in front of you in Dallas, to get them in front of, by the way, Brian Adams will be there, 100% confirmed. There are other executives volunteered to come from Integrity, and they said, we know our place in life. Brian's there. We're not going to be talking. Yep, you're right. Brian don't come. You'll be there. Go. Brian says he's going to be there. He's going to be there. So that I just want to introduce Mark like that I believe, and that's why we're doing it in Dallas. That's why the agenda. That's why the strategy. Here we go. You got 2.5 weeks. How much difference can you make? Who can you find that ain't going? And you tell me you converted them to go. Brandon, who can you combine? So, all right, I'm going to say that and then shut up. Mr. Marc Accetta, gentlemen.
Well, so a number of things going through my head. So first of all, one of the things I want you, when you're promoting these events, I want you to have a certain level of certainty on what's going to happen. So first of all, our job is to make your people easier to work with. So they're more teachable. They complain less. They fix their own problems more frequently. Second thing we have to do is educate them. We have to teach them how to do 2 primary things. Number 1, sell insurance. And number 2, build a business. So our talks are geared towards those things and those things only. Most of you guys know our speakers now have 30 to 40 minutes to cover their topics so they can get really in depth. I have worked with each speaker. We have a really nice variety right now of people teaching the selling part and the recruiting part. So again, the information is going to be there. We're going to give you something that you can depend on, not just at this event, at every event. That is my job. That's part of my job. And again, I've done this a number of times. I appreciate Brian's faith in me and Andy's. And again, I'm a one-trick pony. When I was at the seminar I went to, the first one I described 35 years ago, I was fully immersed. I wasn't all like he was speaking, and it was like the C part, and all I could see was him. Same thing with the next event. It probably took me 7, 8 events before I started hearing things the second, third, fourth time. And before I made a transition to where I started studying the way he spoke. Like, how did he speak? How did he use his voice? How did he put his talks together? How did he use his hands? What was his movement like? And then as more events went by, I started studying everything, the lighting, the songs, the sound, and as many years have gone by, I can't go to a church service. I can't go to another person's house. I study all that stuff. So for me, it's an immersive experience, and that's what we're working on taking. You guys have always had incredible events, but we're trying to make them overall immersive experiences that you can count on a definite outcome when you bring something. And we want all 4 events to be different, by the way. Breakthrough is really, really, really different than anything else we do. This event is going to be different than anything else we do. And here's the point. If anyone misses any one event, they've got to wait a calendar year to go back to that one. That makes it easier for you to get person why they should come to this event and not wait till the next one. So again, there's just so much to talk about. Here's what I look at. It's like, and let me share this with you. Some of you might have heard me say this before, but I think it's important everyone understands this, and I know we're recording it. So there's 3 outcomes when you get someone on your team to come to an event. The first outcome is nothing at all. They're the same person after the event they were before the event. And you just need to understand that 20-25% of people, that's going to be the way it is. It's not like Andy can lay hands on someone and say, humu, humu, nuku, nupu, apu, and all of a sudden they turn into Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar. It doesn't work that way. If someone is committed to not working hard and committed to try to do minimums and get maximum results, training's really not going to do much for them at all. It's not going to strengthen their belief. It's not going to do much at all. Now, for the vast majority of the people, so if we call that the first part 25%, for 73 to 74%, it's going to make them better. It's going to give them more tools, more weapons to put in their quiver. They'll learn a couple of things about closing a sale they didn't know beforehand. A few things about inviting people to a presentation or getting in a door they didn't know before. A couple things about going wide. Couple things about going deep. There's going to be something at that event that's going to make them look at themselves a little better. It's going to strengthen their confidence and their belief. So they're going to come out of the event, and for a certain period of time, they're going to be better. They're going to be more confident. They're going to be stronger. Now, Zig Ziglar, I referenced earlier, one of the greatest sales trainers of all, said, here's the problem to motivation. It doesn't last, and it doesn't last. So ultimately, we need people who fit into the third category, that very small category, that 1 to 2% category. And those are people that have discipline. They're going to take the motivation, but by the time the motivation wears off a week, 2 weeks later, they're going to be rock solid. They're what we call aces. Now, here's the crazy thing. You may have someone on your team already who's an ace. You may have someone who's got all the potential in the world, but to me, potential is a fancy French word for someone who hasn't done anything yet. There are a lot of people on the team who, on paper, I remember years ago watching a World Series game when I was a kid, and the announcer said, on paper, this team doesn't have a chance. And the other announcer smiled and said, it's a good thing we don't play baseball on paper. And ironically, the team that was the underdog in that World Series ended up winning the whole thing. So on paper, you may have someone you're going, oh my gosh, I got one. I've got a Marlin. Well, a Marlin who doesn't do anything isn't a Marlin. Just because they did something. So maybe they are an ace, but you can't activate them. And here's the thing we all have to understand. When we're with someone day in, day out, we will get close to them. They're going to trust us, which is critically important. However, the more they're around you, familiarity breeds contempt. They stop. Forget about that. How about this? As a parent, your kids at some point just stop listening, or they don't listen the same way. So it is absolutely proven that if you get your team around a different messenger, go back to what I said earlier about the messenger and the message, Get them around a different messenger. In many cases, delivering the same message you're delivering, they're going to hear it different. And that's what this is all about. This is all about your team performing, getting each person in the room to perform up to their highest level. So as you're promoting, some people, it doesn't affect them at all. Most people, it makes them better for 2-3 weeks after the event at least. And for the third person, you identify who they are. And that's how we get rich, guys. That's how you get those people on your team. You don't have to say a whole bunch to them. You pick up the phone to call to motivate them, and they end up motivating you because they are in action. They are taking motion. They are teachable. So here's the thing. We don't know who those people are. We don't know who fits into what of those three groups. So it's a numbers game. The more people you get to the event, the more likely you're going to find those 1 and 2 percenters. And all you need is, Andy, all the 6 people that my mentor would work with, they were the aces. They were not. There was, again, some were black, some were white, some were female, some were male, some were young, some were older. The one thing, we had 3 things in common. We were hungry, we were teachable, and we were getting results. And that's all we're looking for. And that 6th group changed on a regular basis, like you said, Andy, based on who's hungry now. You know, look at an athlete who was great for 3 or 4 seasons, then they sign a big contract, and now they're not motivated anymore. In my mentor's book, that person who used to be a badass, who's not working as hard anymore, they're not teachable anymore, they weren't part of the 6 anymore. Andy, you should have at least 6 people around you at all times that, again, you tell them to turn left, they just turn left. There's got to be people out there with you guys. This is my belief. You guys got to reach out more. And he's not hard to find. A lot of leaders like Andy, their phone number, forget about it. You can't reach him. The only way you can try to reach him is call the home office, leave a message with someone like Robbie, and hope the message gets through them. Hell, Andy's on his plane all the time. He's in your backyard. You just got to step up and speak up and say, man, can I grab a coffee with you? Can I have a drink with you? I want to be one of those guys. And it's not just declaring yourself, I don't think is going to be it's going to give you a chance to be one of those 6. And then the key is getting those 6 people to be so successful, so much more than everyone else, that there is a fight to be one of those 6. And here's my deal. If I was an upline, I'd want someone on my team to be one of those 6. I'd want one of my up and coming guys in Andy's pocket, calling him 5. I go back to Michael Jordan talking at Kobe Bryant's funeral, saying how hungry and teachable Kobe was. He went in the NBA out of high school. He had mad talent, but he also had a burning desire to go to the very, very best and pick their brain for the smallest possible detail. That's what you guys should be doing. Pick his brain for every little detail you possibly can so you can become a superstar legend like Kobe Bryant. Who wants that? Some people don't want that, but I know there's people watching right now who want that. You got to let them know that so we can identify who you are.
So Bill Britt will be talking. Bill Britt, my heroes, walking on stage. And so many people would critique him as opposed to try to copy him. These are 2 C words, critique and copy. That makes sense? There's things he did that were interesting to me that I thought were funny, and I didn't care. You could try to get me to talk about him, but I don't care. I just don't care. I want what he got. You with me? Does that make sense? So I like the idea and understanding that it's going to constantly change, Mark, because that I want it to be the same 6 and take over the world. But people have babies, get divorces, they hit a certain income level, right? They hit a certain income level. They hit a comfort zone. I said something the other day, people got some people's attention. I said, average people will do anything you say. Matter of fact, there's some managers, they have people that will do anything you say, as long as it doesn't involve them getting out of their comfort zone. I'd just like to have 15 people do anything you say, as long as it doesn't involve them getting out of their comfort zone. You with me? So somebody may be doing everything I say until they hit their comfort zone, and then they become a critic or a judge as opposed to a do, right? A doer guy. He's not going to be a doer guy, not going to be a follower guy. So then you got to find somebody else maybe down in their group. As Jeff Bright would say, maybe the upline needs to, you know what I'm saying? Yes, I did not say that. You're like, sometimes the uplines gets quirky, and then you got to find somebody else that's 100% committed until the upline gets out of the comfort zone, has a new dream, a new goal, or a new burn, or something. That's right. Exactly. Okay, so this is not a big selling point when you're selling conventions, but I will tell you the price is going to go up January 1. So you do want to get it at the cheapest price. The truth is you want to move now. Like I've got a couple guys that have promised to buy a ticket and they're going to go as soon as they make, $50 or $100. And I love them. And I understand the economic decision they're making. What I need for you to do is buy the ticket and commit today, right now, not before the price goes up. I don't care about that. I'm looking for now people, right? Little hand has now, big hand has right now. What time is it, Albright? I go, it's either now or right now. That's what I'm looking for. Does that make sense? Don't get me wrong. I don't expect 1,000 people to do that, but I am looking for 7, 6 to go like, I'm in. Okay. So buy your ticket now. If you've been on earth 22 years and you can't come up with $1,500 for the most important event in your life, you need to change the way you make decisions. And the first change I suggest you do is get a ticket and get lined up to be at this event. Come hell, come high water. Don't care if hair lips governor. Don't care if you have to borrow the money. Don't care if you have to sell insurance. I don't care if you get disowned. I don't care if you go bankrupt. In other words, if things have not been going according to plan, you've been making bad decisions. I'm telling you, from up here, I can tell you the biggest decision you need to do is start making commitments to get around the people that can help you get to where you want to be. Like a psychotic, absolute, sold out commitment. And then you will see how your life will start changing like that. Just like that. Like, I can't be, I'm telling you that I'm not the person when I was 12. I'm not the person when I was 20. I'm not the person when I was 27. But 27 is when I met these people and they said things like I'm saying to you now. And I just went, okay. Okay. Like, call me simple-minded. Call me a simpleton. Call me a follower. Just don't call me broke.
That's right.
Don't call me content. Don't call me in a comfort zone. I get ill. Does that make sense? But you can call me a lot of names. You can say that I'm not Jesus. I'm not Moses. I'm not this guy. And I go, but I don't know that. I know more bad stuff about me than you know. I know all the stuff you know about me, plus the stuff I know about me, plus the wife, what she told me about me, plus when this guy hates me, what he told me about me. I know, you don't even know this person hates me. They told me stuff you ain't even thought of. Plus what I know. So you can't convince me of that. I'm like, bro, I'm just telling you, that's the first thing you need to do. Becoming VIP, become better at selling tickets, become better at getting people to go. And I have people that are really good at educating people on going. I don't care how smart your people are. I want to know if they're there or not there. I don't care how big you want your stack to be. I want to know how big the stack is. Does that make sense? Did you get him to go or not? Well, let me tell you the reasons he's not going. Stop. I can make up reasons for him not to go. I don't want this to be your strongest selling point, but it needs to be a factor. We're going to do the most amazing trip in 2024. I know you don't normally think past next week. You don't think about February, and I'm asking you to think about 2024. But for one time in your life, let's think about a year out. we're going to take this trip. We're going to fly to Australia. We'll pay for the flight. Okay. We'll have people to pick you up from the airport and take you to a hotel. We'll pay for your hotel. We'll get you some food. The next morning, we're going to put you on a cruise ship. We'll pay for the cruise, and we'll get those drink tickets every day for you. Okay? So it's not just a cruise. It's the drink tickets. Okay? We've got rock climbing. We've got zip lining, restaurants, bumper cars, basketball, and all of us going to hang out. We're going to go across the Tasman. I call it Tasmanian, but it's not. It's Tasman Sea. We go across that. We'll have a party. We're going to have a good time. Then we're going to go to New Zealand, and we're going to go to 5 different ports.
Amazing.
Crazy. And then back, and then fly you back. It's just like, this is, who does that?
We do.
Yeah.
We do that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's 250,000 points. And the way you get a point, if you make a sale, it's $85 a month. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. $85 a month is 1,000 points. 85 times 12. You need 250 of those. Okay. But if you sell a bigger policy, you don't need as many. If you sell annuities, you get points. Matter of fact, you get points for everything except for Sons of Norway and Foresters. They ain't contributing to the points. You go, they ain't. They ain't. I don't know. They don't believe in trips. They're doing their own thing. I don't know. NLG's undecided. We're still in negotiation whether they're going to do points come January 1. So 250,000 points. Just think about anybody besides NLG or Foresters or Sons of Norway. Anybody else do points. You got 47 companies or 37 companies, all of them do points. 250,000 points we go. We will reduce the amount of points required the more you get educated. So the smarter you are, we make it easier. We'll give you 40,000 points. If you've never been on one of our trips or never earned a trip, if you've never earned a trip with us, we'll give you 40,000 points to show up at that first event. It goes down to 210,000. I'm telling you, we're going to have 3 other events. We're going to give you 40,000 for each one you attend and get educated. That brings it down to 90,000 points.
Wow.
90 sales of $1,000. You do the math on that. How much do you have to do the math if you do 90,000 in a year? I know it's less than 10,000 a month.
Wow.
It's so, 7,500 points a month is all it takes. Wow. And we're even doing the same thing for experienced people that have earned a trip before. Like if you earned Ireland, this month you earned Ireland, we're still going to give you bonus points to show up. Do you know how many it is? I think it's 25,000. Is it 25,000, Brandon? 25,000 bonus points. So if you could take it from 250,000 to down to 150,000. So there's no penalty if you don't come to our events. None. You just got to do 250,000 to go. No penalties whatsoever. 250,000. Oh, all the money you make getting these points, you get to keep. So if you overshoot and go from 90,000 points to 150,000 pounds to 200,000, you get to keep all the extra money. So all the money you make by the points plus the trip. Okay, so a experienced agent that has earned a trip before, we're going to give them up to 100,000 bonus points. And I can hear this, Mark. I can't go this event because my mother died. Do I get penalized by not going? Nope. You do not get penalized. We're not mad. We don't care if you don't come. It's your education. We're going to get my bonus points? No. Why? Because you didn't come. But I had a good reason. What, was your parents cooking soup this weekend? Because soup is as good as an excuse as your dog died. You just don't get the bonus points. We don't care. It's 250,000 points to go. I want people to understand how this works. You don't get, there's no penalty for not coming. It's just 250,000 points. Yeah. So that I don't think that needs to be the number one reason to come to conventions. I think the number one reason to come is Albright, Mark said, Britt said, Brian Adams will tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. Get more people to the event. First person's you, then get more people, and try not to let people use excuses, including money or family or I got one trip, has already booked a trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Some people call it Myrtle. I call it Myrtle because it makes me think it's a French Riviera or something. And they've already got that scheduled. I'd cancel that or I'd reschedule that or I'd thank God I don't ever have to go again. And I would come to this event. Does that make sense? Like you got this podunk, poor man. You with me? Like we're going to go to New Zealand And you're going to miss this convention, which you hang around people that are where you want to be in life, who have all the secrets to how to build this business. They're going to be exposing it to everybody in the world. You get 40,000 bonus points to go to New Zealand, and you're going to do that? Hey, listen, I love you and I understand. I understand if I was you walking in your shoes, I'd do what you're doing. You know what we say to that? If not for the grace of God, there go I. Meaning, I don't think like you. Thank God. Does that make sense? Anyway, I don't try to be mean, Mark, but I try to get the point across to the people I like, and I'm hoping they win. I sincerely care.
Yeah, so a couple things. I mean, I love everything you just said. The trip, first of all, I've got to say this. I've been to Australia 20 times. I've been to New Zealand 4 or 5 times, and that is not a trip you want to miss. And the fact the people could just go to the 4 events and then do under 100,000 in production to get that trip. Wow. Don't miss that opportunity, guys. I'm telling you, it's life altering. I mean, and there's so many beautiful places here in the U.S. and Mexico and stuff, but traveling to that part of the world is just so different, and it's something you'll never forget for the rest of your entire life. It'll be a major high point. So, had to say that. The other thing I want to say, public service announcement. On the video that we opened this with, Andy stated that we're going to be done by noontime on Sunday. We're done at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So that's what everything says. But I'm telling you right now, 2 or 3 of the best talks we're having are on Sunday towards the end part of the day. We are always going to end with a bang. So get into the rhythm. I know in the past the events ended earlier. We're doing it different. And listen, here's one of the, again, Andy asked me, how do we go from a couple hundred people to thousands of people? One of the ways we do it is allowing those who are part-time to be able to still attend the event. So we start at Friday later in the day, and then it's Saturday, Sunday. So again, I just want to make sure we understand that. And I'll share this with you. I love what you were saying about signing up right now. Here's the reality. That price going up is a great leverage piece for you guys. Again, sometimes it's hard to get people to do something right now. The price going up is a great way to get them to sign up right now. It doesn't mean that once the price goes up, you shouldn't keep selling like the price was never low. But the point is, it is a good leverage piece. I will tell you this. This is what I learned over the years, that doing a Zoom like this to try to get people to watch it is great. Like if you have someone who's on your team, you want to get them to the event, and they didn't get on the Zoom right now, we'll get them to watch it. That's good, but it's not enough. Okay, what you need to do is make that one-on-one phone call. And it's interesting. I think it was Nick Greco who used the analogy. Could you imagine trying to close an insurance policy, and at the end, when they're giving you X, Y, and Z reasons why they can't do it right now, you weren't there to answer those objections? This is no different, guys. With the same intensity, you would tell people why they need to get the policy, why they need to prioritize the money they're spending on something else right now on this. It's the same way you get someone to come to the event. And it really is the truth, guys. I'll leave you with this part because I know we're running out of time. This is what I learned that really made it the penny drop for me, whatever you want to call it. Dale Carnegie, who wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People, said when you're dealing with human beings, you're not dealing with creatures of logic, you're dealing with creatures of emotion. Here's the problem. Everyone thinks they're logical, but we're not. We're humans. Think about how many emotional decisions you've made in your life that weren't good ones. Well, our goal is to get people in a room and build them up so when they look in the mirror for the first time in their life, they see something that they may believe it's possible to become wealthy. I look at me 35 years ago. My self-image was horrible. I went to an event where they were teaching me how to sell and teaching me how to recruit. But through that process, I started looking at myself differently. And if that doesn't happen, we can teach them all the techniques in the world. It's that emotional connection. For someone to go all in, they've got to believe that if they go all in, it's going to be worth it. So that's our job, guys. Get your people to us. I promise you, they will learn far more than just how to sell insurance and build a team. They're going to learn how to demand more out of every aspect of their life as time goes on. And it'll end up being one of the main things they appreciate most about the Alliance, because the universal success laws we're teaching this upcoming event apply to any aspect of their life. If they want to lose 20 or 30 pounds in the new year, what we're going to teach them at the event will help them with that. If they want to be a better parent, it'll help them with that. Everything they want to do in their lives with this new year, with this optimism. What an amazing deal. This event is only 2 weeks into the new year. Couldn't have been planned better, because while people still have some level of optimism and doing a reboot for their life and their business, we can get right into them at that point. And I'm telling you, we can really change someone's life in 2023, but you got to get them to the event. And most of that's going to be done with a one-on-one meeting or a one-on-one phone call.
All right, you ready? All right, try to get some people. Why are we doing 6 p.m. on Sunday? Why? Okay, this is my logic, or this is my emotion. Mark said. My wife said, "What time are we leaving on Sunday?" I said, "We're leaving on Monday." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because we go until about 6. And we don't want to fly out at night. We might as well just stay. We'll leave out Monday morning." She said, "We're going till 6. I said, "Yeah." She said, "Why?" I said, "Mark said he thought it'd help get more people there." She said, "What do you think?" I said, "I think he said that. I heard him say it. I saw it in writing." She was like, "So he thinks that?" I go, "Yeah." She says, "Why?" I said, "I don't know. He told me about 8 reasons. I didn't listen to that part. All I heard is we can stay until 6. Like, he gave me a lot of reasons. I already made my decision. What difference does it make why? You know what I'm saying? It's like when that guy wanted to borrow the man's saw, and he said, "My wife's making soup." What's soup got to do with a saw? What difference does it make? I ain't letting you have my saw. I could have told you my dog died. I could have told you I ain't sharpened it. I could have told you that I don't like you, but I went with my wife's making soup. So once I decided it's 6 o'clock on Sunday, 6 o'clock's on Sunday. And there's going to be people in my group who make a decision that they don't think it's worth it. God bless you, America, and a horse you rode in on. And I don't care. Does that make sense? I already booked my flights. Well, rebook them. Why? Did you not hear? Because I know Tia put it out. So what I'm saying is emotional. Here we go. That's why I said, are you ready for this? You know what I mean? Number 2. He said there's 3 different things going to happen to people. And he had a group of people and a group of people and a group of people. Can you tell me the 3 groups of people? If you're not taking notes, do you have a photographic memory? We're going to be able to repeat it. 25% of them ain't going to do nothing. 73 to 74 are going to get a little bit better. And 1 to 2% are going to go all in. I would go with 74, 25, 74, and 1. If I was a guy, but I'm going with 73 and 74. You know why? Because that's what Mark said. That's what I'm going with. That's the way I'm going to teach it. I'm not going to change it a little bit because I think I'm smarter about conventions. Either I'm going with him or I ain't going with him. Does that make sense? So the same thing with the lazy boy trails, putting people in lazy boy chairs. I thought was a good idea at one time, and talked to Mark. I decided it was a bad idea. Well, Andy, you've been going with it for like 4 years. I don't care how many miles going the wrong way. If I think I've made a mistake, I've got to turn around. I've got 3.5 years toward whatever college degree. Well, it's a waste of time. Quit. Now, I just want to do it. 6 more months of your life. What do I care? It's not my life. Does that make sense? I'm not mad. Well, you saying people shouldn't go to college? No, I said when I figure out that I'm going the wrong way, I turn around. That's what I said. And I was trying to give you an example of this. Or how about like I've already got my degree in veterinary medicine. I'm broke as everything, and I got in the veterinary practice, and upside down. My wife's already left me, and all kinds of problems, and I attribute it to veterinary. But I got my veterinary degree. Therefore, I must stay in veterinary because I'm already committed to it. Like, whoa. Now, I'm not against veterinarians. You can use whatever degree you want. Adam Katz's brother, he's got a degree in something. He's a doctor. I mean, everybody's got something, that they pick, right? Like I pick textiles. I'm not in textiles. There's a thing called North American Free Trade Agreement. That was a problem. You laughing, you don't know what it is. I don't think you know what it is. All the textiles went to different countries. They're not made here. Well, they're coming back. I know, but I've been working for 20 years while they went away. Does that make you understand? Is what you're doing is right. Okay, so I go with 6 o'clock on Sunday. I'm going with 25, 73 to 74, and 1 to 2%. Okay. Goals. Everybody starts with goals January 1. I'm not sharing one of my personal goals, but I said after Christmas I'm started. I can spend an hour talking about that strategy. Okay? Y'all don't want to hear it. Okay, January 1. I'm telling you, start right now with your goals. How do you get people to vent? My goal. So Adam Katz is leading the country with 60 people. He could say, I'm going to try to get to 70. I go, Adam, I don't care about this 70. That's wonderful. 70. I want to know how many people that are not going are you going to talk to today, one-on-one. That's what I call a goal. I call that a do goal, an activity goal, as opposed to a majestic goal. Does that make sense? Now, here's one thing Adam's team is saying. We're so proud he's number 1. The problem is my buddy don't have anybody else in the top 12, 15 areas. Number 17 is his person, Linda. I wish Linda was in the top 12, and I wish Adam was higher up. Does that make sense? So I'm glad that he's at 60, but it would be nice if he had somebody else up there in the top 10 with him, like Leventovich just have 3 people up in there with him. We can look and see Michael Guerra and let's see, is Mike Guerra and Nick Greco. So Nick is in the top 12, and he has Mike in the top 12. It'd be cool if he had one more. You see what I'm saying? Like, first you want to get there and you want to bring people there. So you say, well, my goal is to get one of my people there in the top 12. Or I might told, if you go down here, Marcus Richardson has 22 people coming. My goal for Marcus, and I hired Marcus. Actually, I hired a guy who hired a guy who hired a guy who hired a guy who hired Marcus, and all of them quit, and Marcus directed me, right? So I want Marcus to go from 22 to 30. The question is, how many people will I call today in his group that ain't going to be there? I call that a do goal or an activity goal. Everybody's so big on these dream goals, results goals. Well, I thought you were results over anything, remotes no matter what. I go, guys, I am an activity person. Do what you're supposed to do, and you will get what you're supposed to get. Yep. Think about what you're supposed to get and don't do nothing, and you're going to be the same as what my daddy said, which people don't like me say on shows, but it's called wishing in one hand and doing something else in another. Are you with me? And it's how many people are you going to talk to? How many outgoing phone calls you make? Not how many posts are you going to put on Facebook or Instagram or any. No, I want to know how many people. So when we're talking about goal setting, the top 6 people, I've already been on the phone about an hour with 4 different people that I think are in the top 6. And I got 2 more to talk to. Hopefully somebody else will raise their hand and say, I want in too. And by the way, you could be brand new. I have a guy, listen to this. I have a guy that I met last Monday. When we were in Kansas. You wasn't there. Monday, I met him on Monday. He was not in class. He's got his license. Got it in his hands, trained, and today, before I hadn't talked to him, hopefully he's booked more, but this morning he made 20 phone calls, talked to 9, booked 7. Find out if he's made any more appointments since then, Brandon, because I can see me looking at my phone. I met him last Monday. He could be one of the 6, but I need him to book his ticket. I need him to book his flight. I need him to be there because I can't have him in my suite if he ain't there. Does that make sense? Now, I know he's going to make money in between now and then, but I need him there regardless. If all 7 no-show him, I don't care. Andy, that's mean of you. I care about his activity. How many sales is he going to get? I don't care. I'm going to take him to $1 million a month. I don't care about short-term thinking. I'm a long-term thinker. But you want somebody to meet you on Monday and make calls by Monday, or by What's today? Wednesday. Last Monday, you want to do that? That's short-term thinking, Andy. I can do short-term and long-term. I'm amphibious. That's what one of my top players said when he shot the ball with his left hand, Mark. They asked him, they said, how'd you shoot so good with left hand? He said, I'm amphibious. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
That's not the word you're looking for, brother.
Mm.
He's ambidextrous, right? Okay, so you're saying short-term, I want people to do what they're supposed to do. Long-term, I know they're going to get what they're supposed to get. Does that make sense? So when I'm working on goal setting, and if you're talking to your manager, if you want, I want 6 legs by March. I want 32 in my group by April. I want to be 250,000. That's all pipe dreams. Once you get that out there, tell me what you're going to do today. I want to use a lot of adjectives right now. Tell me what you're going to do today, brother. Tell me what you're going to do today, sister. That is very, very straightforward, that gets that done. So goal setting, we'll talk about this a little bit at the convention, but I know people want to do it before January. Think, what do you do goals on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday, and then start over. You with me? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. What are you going to do each week? Cut them down in a week. I need daily and weekly do goals. And you say, what if I do all that and don't get my results? Then God is not doing what he said he would do. I mean, you know what I mean? Like the universe says, you do what you're supposed to do, you get what you're supposed to get, but not always in your time, and it's in God's time. And so it might not be by March, but by August. But you're going to get there. And if you don't believe that, then I can't help you. Does that make sense, Mark? It's
100%. It's the discipline and the activity, 100%. I'm with you, because so many people, again, you know what it is, Andy? People get in a temporary mindset and they make, a goal, but then what happens when that temporary elevated mindset is gone? All that's left is discipline. All that's left is action. So I couldn't be, people want to sit around and manifest success. It's like, good luck with that. It's the numbers, and the numbers never lie. May take a little longer, like you said, but they never lie. If you do the work, it's going to come. It may come a little later than it's supposed to, but it'll come. There's no way. It's the law of averages. It's got to work at some point. You just got to keep doing the numbers.
You got to believe. Oh, I do want to clarify this, because yes, sir. Whoa. So he has went from 9 appointments to 17 appointments.
Wow.
The first day of making phone calls. Now, let's be clear. I met him on Monday, and today's Wednesday. I've spent 2 hours with him, maybe 3. I've talked to him every single day since Monday. Why would you talk to a new person every single day? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By the way, Christmas was in there. You talked to a dude on Christmas and Christmas Eve, silly. Does that make sense? Like, it don't make any sense. I know Brandon spent a minimum of 2.5 hours with him. I know that he watched one of our boot camp videos. I know that he watched. Like, I know he did. I know he read. I know he listen to this. He practiced with his sister of his phone call, and sent one to me, sent one to Brandon, spent one to Spencer. I bet he don't have a job. Oh, he wants to know what next all the time. I ain't saying his name yet, but his name is Denzel. Does that make sense? Not like Denzel Washington. It's like Denzel Washington. Denzel may change his name to Denzel if the guy keeps kicking butt. But you're so, like simple. Stop with the conjecture and the psychiatry and all the logic. I don't need that. I need do. That's why the back of my mailbox says, do the do. It don't say, what's your big ass hairy goal? What's your BHAG? I know what a BHAG is. I read the book. I don't care. I want to know what you're going to do. Does that make sense? Activity. So how about that? We need to know how many phone calls he made. I told him I said I'd hush you up his butt to be that lucky. But I'm joking, because he's a doer. Now, what's he going to do next week? I don't know. What do I look like? Jesus? God? Mary Beth or somebody? I don't know. All I know is if he will keep doing, I believe that I will keep pouring in, and I believe it'll happen. Did he get somebody in class yet, Brandon? Is he in class? His brother-in-law is? How about his brother? He told me his brother wanted in too, unless I missed the in-law part. But we're working as a team too. Like, you got to get this happen. You got to get this happen. Does that make sense? And we had audios and videos, and we sent them. And he's on this call. And hopefully he's got people on this call. What about his upline? I don't know if they're on the call. I know he's on the call. And I hope they are. I hope they're watching. I hope they're proud of me. I don't care. Just helping Mark. This could work.
You think?
I think this could work.
Yeah.
Goal setting. What is your activity goals? Who are you getting with? I talked about his upline. You talk about upline that needs to, it's hit or miss with my upline. What does that mean? I can't believe I return texts at my size, my organization, Mark, and other people that are smaller don't get back to people. It takes them a day to 2 days to get back. Not available.
Yeah. Well, again, it's all that's attitude, Andy. Here's the good news, though. I don't know about you. For me, before I'd ever been to an event, I wouldn't return people's texts right away. Like when I caught the fever and when I started to believe I could get rich, and when successful people started telling me you should return that text right away, that's when I started doing it. And now, like you, it's a life habit. Like, how do you not do it?
Somebody had telephone line. Maybe somebody didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dude, I call it money calling. You know what I mean? Like, money calling, Albright got to answer. I do want to point out, Spencer Albright would want me to point that out. He's number 2 in regional managers with 52 coming. So Katz leads the way with 60. Number 3, Mike Guerra with 45. Now, people say, well, what do you got to say to Mike and what do you got to say to Spencer? Don't you wish somebody under you was a regional manager on this list, right? Diane Lampe has 43. Olga and Jason have 41. Nick Greco has 38, and he has Mike Guerra on there. Joseph Dukes is on there with 38, and he has Jake and Beret on there with 35. These are all in the top 12. So if you're in the top 12 and you got somebody in the top 12, that's a good thing. Jake and Belle Krause on here with 38. I know they wish they had somebody on here. Mike and Noel has Joseph Dukes and Jake and Beret. Terry and Tia has 36. Congratulations, number 10 in the country. I know he wishes he had somebody on. So one thing to make you feel good when you have leaders, get leaders. It's just something that makes you feel better when you get somebody else coming on. Michael and Brittany have 35. They're number 12. And they're right behind is Eric Belair, who's number 13. There's nothing wrong being 13. You're just not in VIP. And it's a shame because it seemed like we could have one more, then we have 13. But then number 14 we won't be in. So I had to draw a line somewhere. We picked 12. Why'd you pick 12? I don't know.
Awesome.
I want to say Marc Accetta told me, but he didn't tell me to pick 12. That's what I went with. Nick thinks we're doing it because of 12 apostles.
Wow.
Them religious people, you got to watch them, though. You throw a number out, man, some numbers they get mad about and some they're happy about. You just Stephen and Holly, that might be why I did it. Stephen, that's what, it's the thing. Bill Britt would say hire 6 and hire 6 and then hire 8. This is in width, and then hire 6 and hire 6. So you know what I always try to do? I always try to hire 6, work with them, then hire 8. Then hire 6, then hire 8. They'll go, why'd he go with 6, 8, 8? I said, I don't know, but I think it's because he didn't want to go 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So I think he broke it up with 8.
That's a good point. Wow.
But I never really asked him. I just went with 6, 6, 8, 8, 6, 6, 8, 6, 6. Hiring it. You know what I mean? I was like Andy, you got this stuff memorized. Like, dude, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I bought in hook, line, and sinker. Yeah. And I got the results. And I'm saying that if you do, I believe you can have it too, to the point that I'll talk to you on Christmas Eve. I will do it. I'm crazy like that. Stephen and Holly Davies. I missed Brandon, 33. Davies, 33. Paul Roberts, 27. Linda Goebel, who's part of Kat's team, 24. Connors, 24. Good job. Cuz coming in there with 24. Marcus Richardson, 22. That's the top 20. And if you're bringing one person with you, that's double. You and one, so you went from 1 to 2. What about my wife? No, that counts as 1. Y'all all one circle. Y'all need to bring one more person. Matter of fact, if you come by yourself and you got a spouse, you're a half. Not really, but you know what I'm saying? I just want you to get it. Mark, I'm going to let you wrap it up, man. We're going to let them get out of here. I promise you, so much I want to tell people.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, Andy, whoever is coming is going to hear a lot from you, and I'm excited about that. You know what I mean? And again, we have a brand new year on us, and it always trips me out. Well, let me share this with you. If you're building your business, it's been harder to recruit people during the holidays. They are focused on Christmas and everything goes along with it, and family and traveling. Here's the good news. Now they racked up their credit card bills, and the kids are going to be back at school, and it's a brand new year. So there's that optimism. Two biggest New Year's resolutions: I'm going to get in better shape and I'm going to make more money. So the biggest one is I'm going to make more money. So what I'm saying is people that may have not been open are going to be wide open. Throw that on top of the recession that we're in and everything else going on. Throw that on. I just read stats the other day that I think it was something startling, like 82% of the people in the country would like to have a different job than what they have right now. So we're going into a ripe recruiting season. There are no major holidays all the way up until Easter. So you've got a 3.5 month run at this thing. So the first thing I do is make sure you set your goals. And then the second thing, exactly like Andy said, is start taking massive action towards them as quickly as humanly possible. And there's going to be days you don't feel like it. You know, to me, the best parallel for this is people who want to get in shape. I cannot tell you how many days I've gone to the gym when I have not felt like it. But when you end up, the world has to yield to you if you do the work. It does. So if you go to the gym every day and if you eat the right way every day, it doesn't matter how out of shape you are now, eventually you're going to be in shape. So if you're not making a lot of money right now, but you do at least one presentation every day and you do X amount of sales calls every day, there's no way. Obviously, different people have different level of talent, but eventually you're going to get in good shape. And there's no reason why you can't have the best year of your life, but your activity has to match your goals. Just like what he was saying. I'm so excited we're going to have the opportunity to spend time with you and everyone else who's committed to having a huge 2023. That's what I said earlier. Thank God this thing is only 15 days into the new year, Andy. I think that's a major deal. I tell you, everyone who leaves there is going to be able to fly home without an airplane. There's no doubt we're going to light them on fire. The trainer's messages, Andy's messages. Kai got a couple things for you as well. I know we're going to launch the year the right way. So again, I just implore you one last time. Make that one last call. Call the people you think probably aren't going to go no matter what you say and give it your best shot, because we just never know. People that could someday be partners in this company may never even go sell a policy if you don't get them to this event. That's how powerful the events are. So I appreciate you being nice enough to spend this time with you today, Mr. Albright. It's always an honor and a pleasure. And I'm so grateful you did listen to Brian and give me a chance. And I'm looking forward to the Alliance just having a massive year in 2023.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the event and hearing you speak and your message and your stories. I love your stories. You're a great storyteller. I want to make sure I'm clear on the story. Like with my wife, she was asking me what time we're going to leave on Sunday. And I said, we're leaving on Monday. She said, okay. She wanted to know why, which I think is a good question. I said, because Mark said, and I believe it'll have us more people, right? And when I left her, she was trying on clothes for the convention and getting ready because we leave tomorrow for a fun event, a 5-star fun event. And then from there, we fly back to Florida. And from Florida, we fly to Dallas. And here is our winter home. So we have winter clothes here, and she needs to have some winter clothes packed because even though we're going tomorrow for a 5-star and then to Florida, you see what I'm saying? In other words, it takes what she do What's she do? You with me? The clothes she's got to wear in Dallas got to be picked out today. You say, well, if you didn't have 2 homes, that would not be a problem. True that. Okay? More homes, more problems. More money, more problems. More jet, more problems. More agents, more problems. Okay? More crazy trips, more problems. If you're not willing to accept more problems, you ain't going to have more money. You ain't going to have a bigger stack. Bill Britt used to talk about it all the time. He'd talk about his problems. I'll say, that's the problem I want. That's a problem I'm looking for. Now that I have those problems, sometimes I will catch myself whining about them, and I start giggling to myself. I'm like, I got a Bill Britt problem. You know, like I got that problem that guy has. Okay. I know I'm crazy. Here's how crazy I am. I'm going to go to Fort Lauderdale next week. What day are we going? January 4th, I'm going to be at Fort Lauderdale. Guess what I'm going to be doing? Selling tickets, talking about goal setting for the new year. Those are the 2 big subjects. Hello, Fort Lauderdale. And I'm going to be looking like a linebacker for somebody that wants to start committing 100% and get rid of the apathy or the critiquing, and somebody wants to commit. You with me? Critique, commit, apathy. Right? So I'm looking. Okay. Then we're going to go to Houston. Same thing. Working. Then Dallas. Albright, you crazy. I know. I think one person could change everything. Here's another thing. At 10 o'clock this morning, that guy had booked 9 appointments. And I said, what are you going to do when I hang up with you? And I gave him 5 things to do. I know 2 he's done. Is he on his call, Brandon?
Yeah.
3 he's done. There's 2 other things I asked him to do. No, he got that guy signed up. So I know 4. I think there's one other thing. I ain't even sure what it was. I had to look back. I gave him 5 things to do. I know he's done 4 already. One of them was book more appointments. He said, you want me to do all those things and start booking appointments? I said, yeah. He said, I already got 9. I said, you've got 9 for tomorrow. You're going to have no shows. You might even miss not showing up for people. But the more you book, the more errors you're going to make tomorrow. I sold him. So, and then he hung up and made more calls. So I would go, like if he said 19, I'd probably stop. That's enough for the day. 20 is probably good, but it's kind of like he needs to do some recruiting now. And he needs to, get Alicia committed to go to convention and stuff like that. You with me? There's things, there's an agenda. Like there's things that got to happen. And you are in the minutia. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to be one of those people that ain't scared to get my hands dirty and get down where the rubber hits the road and stuff happens. I'm not that play leadership guy who posts on social media and thinks that's going to work. Oh, you post? No, I don't. I don't even post. If I didn't have Jessica does that. This is what makes me the money, is getting on the phone. Does that make sense? And getting people to understand, as Jeff Bright said, you're a clarifier. Yeah, simplification. Einstein most people are so dumb they can't make it simple enough to understand. Most people are so dumb they can't make it simple enough to understand. And my son says I confuse people sometimes. I go like, all right, here we go. Sell, build, recruit. Recruit, sell, build. Build is downline. Recruit's putting in with. Selling is selling. And getting people to convention is building. Getting people leads is selling. I'm trying to simplify. Mark, help me simplify in Dallas, bro.
I'm telling you, we're going to simplify like crazy. Just come, man. Come to the event and bring those people with you. We'll simplify. That's always got to be the deal. That's our job, to take something complex and make it simple. That's it.
He said he's good at simplifying. I go, all right, I'll go with that. All right, man. Thank y'all for attending. I hope this helpful. Hope to see you in Dallas. If not, we'll see you at the next convention. We won't be mad. We won't be sad. We'll just be looking for more people. All right. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it, brother.
You got it. God bless. Bye-bye.